So when the Prophet ﷺ saw a beauty, he used to say, "Praise be to Allah who has given blessings exceedingly." When I look at the Islamic invitation in the world, I can confidently say this: praise be to Allah who perfects His blessings in abundance. Because as I mentioned at the very beginning of the topic, there are indeed very beautiful developments happening in the world regarding the Islamic invitation. However, despite all of this, we have deficiencies, we have mistakes. If these are discussed and rectified, the Islamic invitation will reach a better point. I believe in this. As far as I can see, my personal opinion is that the primary problem of the Islamic invitation is the problem of representation. The problem of representation. This mission is a noble mission. This dawah is one with few followers. Because of this, the morals, lifestyles, plans, and programs of the people who will represent this dawah must be in harmony with it. Unfortunately, there is such a problem in general around the world. The people who are the face of the dawah, who represent the dawah, are not fully fulfilling it. For example, what do I mean by representation? For instance, a preacher tells people about the truth and righteousness. Later, Allah tests him in his faith. When he is tested, he starts compromising his faith. He says things that should not be said. And this makes people say, "Wasn't this the man who was telling us these things until yesterday?" Look how he immediately turned back on his heels when Allah tested him. The mistakes of those who are the face of the dawah are attributed to the mission itself. A person is not obligated to represent the dawah. You should take on as much responsibility as you can handle. You will take on as much as you can bear. Therefore, I believe that those who invite people to Islam should first know themselves. Then they should seek the opinion of knowledgeable Muslims around them, asking whether they are qualified for this and whether they can be the visible face and audible voice of this dawah in their region. Otherwise, incorrect representation returns as a harm to the dawah. Secondly, the second serious problem is that individual activities in the dawah often precede collective activities. In other words, people generally do not want to share their successes and good deeds with others. The worst kind of stinginess is stinginess in doing good deeds. Naturally, many preachers thinking, "I am already teaching, I am already writing, I am already reaching out to people," avoid organizing into groups and leveraging the strength and support of Muslims to advance the dawah. There may be valid reasons for this. Past negative experiences and the abandonment of some people by Muslims might lead them to think this way. But it is also true that if we want this invitation to be heard throughout the world, we need to move away from individual efforts and instead focus on collective efforts, which are blessed with Allah's help and bounty. Unfortunately, Muslims have not yet reached the necessary maturity in this regard. May Allah, who has already bestowed us with so many blessings, one day grant us the ability for all dawah movements in the world to act as communities and structured entities. Thirdly, one of the major problems I have observed is the inability to channel the energy of those who are devoted to this dawah into the field of dawah. In other words, in many parts of the world, a significant number of people have accepted and committed themselves to this dawah. This has been made possible through the efforts of different preachers. However, there is a problem of not being able to fully channel the energy available in the field. In other words, those with wealth should contribute their wealth, those with talent should use their talents, those with intelligent children should involve their children. Of course, whose responsibility is this? It is the responsibility of the preachers who guide people. First, they need to identify the type of good in a person and then guide them on how to utilize that good in the service of Allah's religion. Of course, this is also related to the second point. In other words, because many preachers think individually, they do not make the effort to identify and guide people towards their good qualities. I believe that if these three problems are overcome, the Islamic invitation will advance to a much better place than where it is today, inshaAllah.